Everyone, Nick Liber with Exit Realty, and for those of you that are Exit Strategy Realty, this video is part of a series that is in our Exit Resource Center. You can always find these under the My Office tab, and you can scroll down with that. You've got all the quick links to all the Project X resources, and then you also have these two video series, which are things that are some are on YouTube, a lot are not on YouTube. They are, or at least they're unlisted on YouTube. They are our Project X Quick Tips, which is the smaller items, smaller topics, and then the training and tutorial videos from Project X, which is the larger, longer videos. And those two video albums are right there, private to us. So if you're here today, I wanted to show you a few different quick tips. First of all, when you're in dot loop, something that you'll want to know in dot loop is you can add a task list. And so you would want to load a template. And what it is you have, so if you're a newer agent or even experienced agent working with a team, it's nice to have this task list. I built them out for you, which basically says, okay, if you've got a buyer under contract, here's what are the next steps, the action items. Some of them would be in dot loop, some of them would not. New listing checklist, and then also a listing under contract checklist. So you've got those three different big ticket items. Maybe someday we'll add some other actions in there as well, but those are great starting points for you. And again, that list lives right in dot loop. It also does live within the Exit Resource Center. In our My Office, you've got that huge library of Project X assets as well from our coaching program, and you'll have new listing checklist, new buyer checklist, new seller checklist, et cetera, in there. So all these tools work together, and they're all available right in here through this area. And of course, how to get to dot loop through the Exit Resource Center, the way I prefer to do it, so you can see all the other news, not only from our office, but the mastermind of Exit Realty International agents around the world. You go to click under properties and then My Partnerless Solution, with Paperless Solution, which is the dot loop app. So want to have a quick conversation with you about commission, because what this entire video, like almost all my videos, are prompted by coaching conversations within our office. And an agent of ours reached out and said, well, I'm going to take a listing, and I've heard a lot of stuff about commission rates and things like that. What do you think? I said, well, here's my thought. Commission at our office is up to you what you charge the seller within reason. We are not a discount brokerage by trade, but we want you and the seller to have an honest conversation about what you're going to do for them, what you feel is appropriate. Obviously, I can help you if you'd like my advice on what to charge. However, I leave at Exit Strategy Realty the end decision of what to charge up to you. So that used to be the only conversation we'd have. We'd say, well, you're going to charge whatever the commission rate is. Again, some offices make a standard, or I shouldn't say even the word standard, a set commission rate. We do not do that at our office. That is an independent contractor choice, up to you. But there's also, so that was the first question. And I believe you've got to do what is competitively right for you and your business and your client, who you have a fiduciary duty to, which is the seller. But there's now, after all these lawsuits and NAR things and mess going on in 2023, now here in 2024 and beyond, depending on when you see this video, the second question you'll see in the screen right here is, what are you going to offer as a listing agent, as a cooperative commission to a buyer's agent? And so that's where you hear some rumors in the industry of, well, oh my gosh, the sky is falling because, now people can charge, they can give you nothing. The listing brokerage, because all commissions flow through a brokerage, the listing brokerage can give you nothing. Now, just like I allow you as independent contractors under our supervision, of course, to charge the seller whatever you feel is appropriate that the seller agrees to, that is competitively a good fit. I will also allow you, as independent contractors housed under our primary licenses, to give out what commission you're going to feel is a competitively appropriate commission to give out to a buyer's agent. But I want you to think about it this way, and I'm probably going to make this video public, so maybe some other policy makers, broker owners, etc. in our industry and individual agents can educate themselves and have an open discourse. Feel free to comment if this is on YouTube and it's public and it stays public, feel free to comment below with what your thoughts are. But at Exit Strategy Realty, what we're going to do is we are going to continue to allow the agents to put in that buyer agent field whatever they feel appropriate, that will be in the best interest of their seller, who we have a fiduciary duty to, in order to get that listing sold. And I want you to think beyond two things I want you to think about when you put that number there is A, is it going to be a number that helps your seller get showings? Or is it going to be, if you want to put $1 or $0 there, that means the buyer's agents. You know, we're almost all in this industry, independent contractors. We don't have a salary. We don't have a wage per hour. We have to have a car in most cases, car insurance, gas, or EV, electric vehicle if you're like me, dump the pump there. And someday with solar, we'll cut the cord too. But I digress. We have expenses as independent contractors, a lot of them, in order to run our business. And so the first thing I want you to consider is it in your seller's best interest for you to get whatever commission you're going to get, and you're not sharing that with the buyer side, because then that buyer agent or buyer brokers, because again, all commissions flow through a broker, a buyer's brokerage is then going to turn around and look to who? Their own buyers. And that's why we, at least at our office, have done the handshake buyer broker agreement, specifically now having a clause saying, hey, if the seller's brokerage isn't paying, the seller is not giving us a commission through the seller's brokerage, we may have to come to you in order to make a living wage. Is that okay? We got to confirm what that number is. But so that's piece number one. Is it in the seller's best interest and your best interest representing the seller to be putting a $0 or a $1 or something really awful in that buyer agency compensation field? Is that going to force some buyer's agents to have to go back to their buyers, and they're not going to be able to work something out on their end to make this a viable thing to get in and look at your property? The reason why, at least in my mind in the first place, sellers were normally the ones that were expected to offer the compensation is because the seller has owned the property. In the United States and almost everywhere else I've studied, most sellers are not only getting some appreciation over time, it's part of the reason of owning property, right? But they're also paying down on their mortgage note over time. So guess what? They're in a position to hopefully have a return on their investment. That's why it's so much better than renting, where there is no even option or opportunity to have a return on your investment. I believe, as do I hope some of you that work with me at Exit Strategy Realty and Project X, that home ownership is something that will help the entire community, because when you own your home, you're going to care about your home. You're going to care about what goes on in the community, because it's an investment. It really does a lot of good around you. So I want more people to be able to afford homes. And if I am putting the responsibility of the commission on the buyer side, is that closing some doors to the community in a greater good conversation? But in a more fiduciary due to my seller, is that closing some doors on my seller of people that could buy this property, potentially get a higher price for my seller? Some things to think about. But that field down here, buyer broker compensation, is at our office. Up to you what you put in there. We do have a couple notes that I have in our office that kind of walk you through that process. And then also in the listing side, the listing contract will have that primary number in there. So I hope this was helpful to you, thinking about this in all the different ways. And apparently it's time for our next coaching session and meeting. Guys, have a great day. Reach out if you're at our office to either myself or our wonderful designated managing broker. Have a great day.